connected the CIA's drug involvement to gang-affiliated drug dealers and the crack epidemic in black neighborhoods.
And welcome back, everybody. What is good? I am your host, 2400Y2K, and this is episode 7 of the pod. Now, I know I've been away for a minute now. I got sick. I got sick pretty bad. I was pretty fucked up. Sore throat, runny nose, like disoriented, just fucking couldn't hear nothing. Like, just sick. Just sick as fuck. So I was sick for about a week. Then it threw me off, and then I tried to come back, and I just felt like shit. My throat was sore. Then I fell out of the groove. Been trying sorry about that. I've been trying for over the last couple weeks. I know it's been almost a month now since the last pod, which I know I can't do. Can't do that. But anyways, yeah. So essentially, I got sick, threw me out of the loop. And I was like, fuck. So I didn't podcast for a minute. But I am back. I'm getting back into the swing of things. It feels good to be back. I'm still trying to work on a second mic. Because if I can get a second mic, then I can have my first guest on. Which, again, like I've been saying, I think would really, really show more so, I don't know. I think it's where I'd shine. I think you'd see me branch out a little bit more. I could bounce off of something. That sounds crazy. Pause, but I could bounce off of bounce ideas off people, give feedback, like live feedback. So that's what I'm working on. That's what I really hope to do. Then I feel like that'd be the first time you'd really see me get I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I feel like that's my peak. That's my peak, is if I can get another person on. But that's coming soon. So, I mean, hopefully soon. Hopefully within the next month I can get that done. But anyways, I just wanted to say I'm back. I wanted to apologize for being away for so long. I do enjoy doing this. It's just hard to get back into the swing of things, especially after being sick and just not doing it for a minute. But hopefully we're back. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about today is, I was on Twitter, right? And there's this guy called Sneeko. If you don't know who he is, he's like an internet personality. He's a streamer. Sorry about that. Really, he makes a lot of controversial takes, right? He says a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily think he believes. A lot of incel stuff, a lot of stuff about women, feminism, being gay, trans, those type of things. He just likes to get a reaction. He likes to say stuff that's more edgy, more, trying to make fun of them in a sense, trying to demean them, or at least that's how I perceive it. You might perceive it different. A lot of people might. But that's the gist of Sneeko, right? So Sneeko, I seen him on Twitter, right? And it was, I can't remember where he was exactly. Sorry about that. But I can't remember where he was exactly. But some fans approached him, right? And they're young. They're maybe 13, 14, probably around that age, just like middle school, maybe freshmen. And they come up to Sneeko. Right? And immediately, I'll see if I can find it. But essentially, they're like, "Oh, Sneeko, fuck transgenders and all this shit, right?" And Sneeko's like, "Whoa!" He's all taken back, and it kind of just shocked me. Or what do you mean you don't know? He acts like he doesn't know how his fans are. Here, I found the clip.
We love everybody. No. All gangsters die. Yeah, merch, preach. done.
Can I get in the video? Fucking talk. Can I get in the video?
Yeah. Talk to him.
Yo, what's up? What's up?
And I seen that, right? And I don't know if you hear what they said, but they're like, fuck transgenders. All gays should die. Which crazy statements, by the way. Crazy statements. I don't get people who have a problem with gay people. People are going to love who they're going to love regardless. Right? I don't think, I mean, I don't know, trying to oppress them or change them or make them different or say that they're wrong or say that they're gonna go to hell or just trying to condemn them or condemn them. Sorry about that. But just trying to generally be disrespectful and negative and trying to tell them what to do. And sorry about that. I don't know why my mic keeps cutting out. Sorry about that. But anyways, so fuck. Anyways, I don't get it. I don't get why people are so hateful. I don't get why people are. People are gonna love who they're gonna love regardless, and it doesn't affect you. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, if you're straight and it doesn't matter, then why do you, like, if you're straight, then why does it matter? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. I've gotten into some, I don't know. It just don't make a lot of sense to me because I don't know. People are gonna love who they're gonna love regardless, and trying to change them or trying to be derogatory. I don't know, man. I don't agree with that. I'm not. I think you should leave people alone. I mean, as long as it's not harming nobody, I don't get it. And that's the whole thing, right? Is I have my own theories about it, that a lot of people who are like that are transphobic or homophobic or just they're hateful. And not only are they hateful, but a lot of them are closeted. And I really believe that. Like, there's this old joke that there's nothing gayer than a homophobic politician, because there's so many scandals and you can find them where there's these guys who just preach, oh, down with the gays, they shouldn't get married, da 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 da, yada yada, and then boom, they get caught. They get caught with a man, they get caught with their boyfriend, they get caught, and there's nothing wrong with being gay. But what? How are you gonna sit out there and condemn them? How are you gonna sit out there and preach, oh, the gays are bad and this and that and all this, and then be gay? And that's my whole thing. Is I think a lot of them are closeted. I think a lot of them are angry. I think a lot of them wish it was mainstream. I think a lot of them have been misguided. I think a lot of people have a negative opinion that comes from ignorance, in a sense. I don't know. I never got it. And I don't even come from a place like that. Like, there's not a lot of, it's not like San Francisco where I'm from. I mean, it's just a red state. It's a red place. But I just don't get it. I mean, it doesn't bother me, and it doesn't bother a lot of people. But that's what I was, leads me back to that video that I was talking about, is, sorry, I'm talking real fast. I'm been used to this. But, what I was going to say is, I don't get it because it's, or not that I don't get, I was going to lead me back to that video. It's bad. It's, I don't think that these people who are in positions like Sneeko really grasp how much damage they're doing, even because a lot of them do it for a check, right? A lot of them are grifters. A lot of them just do what's popular, do what's right for the money, right? And that's dangerous because, well, you're doing it for the money, while you don't actually believe that, while you have the mental strength to say, oh yeah, this is dumb, but I'm going to say it for some money, I'm going to say it for some clout. These kids don't. They don't have that filter yet. And so when they hear you say that, I don't care what people say. I don't care what people say. Idols or people you look up to or listen to have a huge effect on your life. And that's real. I mean, a lot of people like David Goggins, he has interviews where he says, people have come up and say, "You changed my life, man," and that's true. And it's also true in the opposite fact, where people look up to these incels or people like Sneeko, and they believe this rhetoric, and they're young kids. It's not like they're old, you know what I mean? These are young kids. They're impressionable. They believe that shit. They believe it's real. It's just like when I was a kid, I used to watch YouTubers that now I don't necessarily think I'd agree with, but at the time they were cool. They were popular, and I based my comedy around a lot of them. A lot of what I believed, especially comedy wise, was from the internet. Like Leafy is here. I used to try to emulate his comedy so much, and I used to be a little bully asshole at school a lot of times, and where I'd get my best jokes and where I'd get my kind of swagger and what I talk like from is Leafy is here videos. And so it's a real detriment, it's a real damage, and I really believe that these people like Sneeko, their words have power. What they say, that it means something, right? It's not just some silly little bullshit. It's not some just it's not just some it's not like they're just trolling or like it really matters, because there's a whole generation of kids who already have it fucked up, right? You got an iPad shoved in your face from 1 year old, you know what I mean? And you might think that's an exaggeration, but that's real. You've had cell phones and iPads and all this shit in your face. I didn't grow up like that. I was born in 2004, so the world was a different place. You know what I mean? I didn't have a phone until 13, and it wasn't even a great phone. And then, you know what I mean? It was a whole different era. Whereas these kids growing up now, that's a lot of their parents. That's a lot of their teachers. The internet, they. You know what I mean? They grow up on these YouTube and Netflix and all this, and then they get a little bit older, and then they start to branch out to what they want to watch. It's not just Elmo and Sesame Street and what mom put on or dad put on. It is what you want to watch now, right? So you start watching. Oh, you're a real big Andrew Tate fan. Oh, this guy's really preaching. Oh, I want to get fit. Oh, yeah. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And a lot of these kids are, this is a deep rabbit hole. This is going to branch off in a lot of ways. But it's like a lot of these kids come from like households where, at least in my opinion, from what I've witnessed nowadays, from the kids in my generation, is a lot of kids come from the homes where they resent women. Right, and that might sound a little crazy. That might sound like, what? What do you mean? So what I mean essentially is that these kids come from homes where it's a one-parent household, and either A, they get too much affection from their mom, and not too much affection. That sounds harsh, but in a way, like, they think that every woman should be the idea of exactly what they were raised by. So the mom, because a lot of times single moms, a lot of times moms in general, they spoil their kids, right? That's just how it is, right? You just love that baby, and that's how it is. But a lot of times, and especially when it's a chaotic environment, they latch onto that, and the older they get, it's that Sigmund Freud thing where you're attracted to types like your parents. And so when every woman is not like the one and only mom that you have, you know what I mean? They're not, you know what I mean? Especially this generation, that it's just a little different. A lot of us grew up in broken homes. So the women are fucked up, the men are fucked up equally. I don't think that there's a side that has it worse. I think that both sides grew up with trauma in almost every aspect, and even me, who came from a more middle class lifestyle, there's different things that affected me, you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely believe that what do you call it? So, sorry, looping back to what I was talking about. But I believe a lot of these kids are angry at women, right? I'm not gonna say rightfully so or wrongfully so. It's every situation is different. We're all individuals. It's individual cases. But a lot of these guys are hateful towards women, and not just women, but a lot of times gay men or just people like that in general who I believe that they're mad at because they're more in touch with themselves. So, like, a lot of these young men don't know who they are. And I'm like that in a way. You know what I mean? I still don't fully know who I am, but I have more of an idea than when I was younger. But a lot of these young men don't know who they are, and they're trying to find who they are. Where, as a lot of, people who are openly gay and openly trans and things like that, they don't have to hide their personality anymore. They don't have to, pretend to be something they're not, or they don't have to sit there and play face. Whereas the guy, the incel, or the guy who, is hateful towards them, he's not happy. Like, he doesn't know who he is. He can't be in touch with himself like that. He doesn't know, or he might know who he is and he might hate himself. It's things like that. And it's that combination mixed with these people like Sneeko who condone it and make it cool and make it funny, and they're allowed to walk up and say like that stuff about gay people and be like, oh, fuck them, kill them. Like, it might just be a joke to you, or it might just sound like kids talking shit. But what happens when that mentality grows and festers? You know what I mean? It's comparable to like the German movement of 1940. I don't know if I can say that on the pod. I don't know what I can say, so I'm just gonna call it the German occupation from 1933 to 1945. But anyways, so it's a lot like that mentality where it just starts as a seed, or it starts as a funny, or it starts as something that's not that serious. But as it grows, as the years go on, and that mentality festers, and you still feel like that, that's when it can get dangerous. That's when people go into places and do harm and hurt people, because it's an unchecked, and it's untreated, and whatever the cause may be. A lot of people have mental illness. A lot of people just there's no real definitive way to describe how that happens or what happens exactly. But I can tell you that it breeds a lot of hate, and it breeds a lot of disdain, and it breeds more division. And often it can breed things like violence. And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's a healthy message for someone as big as Sneeko, who has a large platform, who gets lots of viewers, who has impressionable young kids watching him, who used to be me, who used to be a 13-year-old kid in his basement bored just watching YouTube, right? It's just watching YouTube. And then pretty soon you start talking like that, and you start thinking like that, and you start saying whatever you want, and you start saying slurs, and you know what I mean? It's a very slippery slope. It's a very scary pipeline. And I think someone like Sneeko should be smarter. And to see the look on his face when it happened, and I don't know if it was genuine or not, but he looked surprised, and it makes me think maybe he doesn't realize, you know what I mean? Maybe these guys are so big, or maybe, coming from, a lot of these guys aren't famous, so they come from nothing in a sense of, especially clout wise, and then they come up to this, and now they're famous, and lots of people know them and view them. Maybe they don't have a sense of how their outreach hits people, or maybe they think it's not that serious, or people aren't going to take it that serious. But they are going to take it that serious. That's the way people are. And people have had idols since the beginning of time, you know what I mean? And so it's no different to these kids that you're their idol. You are their influence. They listen to you because, well, there's a multitude of reasons, but a big one is this generation just doesn't have a lot of dads around. And same with moms. There's both one single parent homes, people with grandparents, all types of things like that. And so they don't have a traditional teacher. They don't have a traditional role model. They don't have a traditional someone to look up to, mom or dad. And so they look to YouTube, they look to other things. And that might sound like a joke, but to people growing up in my age, to people who know what it's like, people really do raise themselves on the internet. People really do just watch something on the internet and that make that their whole personality, or let that teach them, or let that influence them, or go down a whole pipeline. That's the thing too, is it's so deep. You can find someone surface level like Sneeko and end all the way up on Gypsy Crusader and Andrew Tate and all these more right-wing incel type people. Sorry, I was breathing a little hard there. But no, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous pipeline, and I just thought that was interesting that on Twitter, that was one of the first things I saw was Sneeko with those kids and them saying shit like that. And I just think that's dangerous. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a safe mentality to push. So that's just what I had to say about that real quick. Not real quick. That was a fairly large segment, but I just figure I had to get my 2 cents on that, and I might go deeper into that once the more I learn. But I just wanted to go in on that basic, just because, you know what I mean. It's something I think about, it's something I care about, especially with trying to start my own pod and start my own channel and get my own, following. I wouldn't want to use my platform for something like that. I wouldn't want to preach a message of ignorance and hate and trying to, I don't know, be better than people and no, I think you should better yourself, but I don't think that's bettering yourself. I don't think the way that they preach it is bettering yourself. Like, yeah, I agree that some stuff you should work out. There's just certain healthy habits that or religion and things like that. But and again, they even take that too far. And I believe in balance. I believe life is all about balance. That's a huge thing. That means everything. And that should be the same thing. Is there should be a balance there. They don't have balance. They either throw themselves too far in or they're completely against it. And there's no balance in that. And the way that they're, like, I don't know. Sneeko makes a lot of tweets. And I understand it's just for clout a lot of times. He's a grifter. He's not really believing that shit. But the way he talks and the way he, like, I've seen some of his tweets, he's just, it's really toxic. And I don't know, I might sound like a left and I might sound, pussy or whatever. And I'm really not. I'll tell some stories on some more episodes where you'll understand, like, I'm not a pussy, but I definitely think it's dangerous. I'm not soft. I think people should say what they want. I still say my fair share of bad things. And you know what I mean? I still play Xbox and I still hear things and whatnot. But to sit there and teach a whole bunch of young kids that it's okay to bash on people just because they're gay or just because they're trans or just because they're a woman even, it's I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's healthy or cool. I think that's really dangerous. And I think that Sneeko needs to be careful with that. I think a lot of people in general do, and they don't. And, they're not gonna, and there's nothing I can do about that. But I just want to throw my 2 cents in on that. What I'm looking at right now is my book, right? Because it says some interesting things in here, right? This is a book I've been reading called Conform or Be Cast Out. I don't know if I've talked about it before. But, sorry if I was a little far away there. This is a book called Conform or Be Cast Out. I don't know if I've talked about it before, but it essentially, it's really interesting. It's about how either, like, in society forever now, it's always been you either conform to what everyone else is like, or just what the times is like, and you conform, or you're cast out, meaning a lot of different ways, literally, figuratively, punished, a lot of things like that, just because you don't fit the norm or you don't follow the norm. You're not, you know what I mean? If whatever's popular at the time, you're different, or you have a different ideology, or you have, you sit alone in a room while everyone else goes out to party. You know what I mean? it's a lot of that. It's a lot of trying to address and talk about just different figures in history and different things like that. I've only got a little bit of the way through, and hopefully I'm gonna read more. I want to read more to you guys on the pod. But so the one little bit I wanted to read here is it says, on the one side you have the individualists, the libertarians, the free thinkers, the nonconformists, under which category the present author, in the interest of full disclosure, must admit to failing. On the other side, you have the collectivists, the nationalists, the socialists, the communists, and those who believe that the bonds of community and charity must be prioritized above the individual rights or welfare by force if necessary. Much to the dismay of the people like myself, for the last 1,000 years, the collectivists have been winning. And the one reason they've been winning is their overwhelming superiority at using language and storytelling to reinforce their worldview among the decided. They do so with such skill that most people don't even realize that their thinking is being manipulated. Think of the word selfish, and what comes to mind? Someone who treats others badly and who is likely to lie and cheat and steal to get what he wants. In reality, the self is a wonderful thing that should not be neglected, but should be nurtured and developed to the maximum of its potential. But subtle collectivist thinking has over time given the word an intensely negative connotation. The author and the philosopher Ayn Rand tried to point out this numerous times in her writings, but due to the clumsiness of her philosophical writing, sorry about that, my dog was messing around, her message came out garbled to all but most devout readers, willing to work hard enough to figure out what she really meant. Collectivist messaging can be found pretty much anywhere we look or we care to look. But perhaps the most audacious example and the focus of this book is the way the individualists, nonconformists, and the people who refuse to do as they're told by the rest of society have so frequently throughout history been demonized. The word, as it commonly is used, is strictly metaphorical. To demonize someone is to paint them as a bad actor, as someone with malevolent motives against the common, as someone acting against the common interests of society. We see metaphorical demonization every day in politics, in current events, in religion, in phenomena, in writing of all types. Indeed, it is hard to find any public figure who is not, to some degree or other, demonized on a regular basis. You can be sure, however, the bulk of the bile and the hatred of society has to muster is lobbed in the direction of those who are a bit different than the rest. The people who hold unpopular opinions, live in unconventional lives, refuse to do as they're told, and fail to toe the party line, risk not only public censure and vilification, but often death threats and actual attacks on their person as well. So that was just a short little bit of the book. Sorry I butchered that. I'm not the greatest reader in the world. But so that's part of the book, and essentially it's exactly what it says. It's going to address the people who are different, the people who don't fit societal norms, the people who fail to toe the company line, the free thinkers, often the people who just, when told to do something, question it, you know what I mean? Those type of people. And I think that's really interesting, because I think that happens a lot. And I think it's sad, because there's a lot of people who are vilified, and a lot of people who are cast out, and a lot of people who are locked away, who could be something great, who have so much potential, who really, you know, I look at a lot of the people in prisons, and a lot of the stuff they make or engineer, such as I've seen headphones and chargers and stoves and barbecues and all these different types of things engineered by these guys who are on lockup. And it makes me think, That's how much knowledge and how much drive they have in lockup. With what little knowledge they were given, with what little resources they were given, they were able to engineer something as advanced as earbuds. You know what I mean? They have little circuit boards and different stuff that they break apart, and they engineer that kind of stuff. And that's what I'm talking about. Is it's sad because these people have so much potential, and if given a different set of circumstances, if dealt different cards, if grown up in a different environment, they could have been something great. They could have, you know what I mean? Like Mike Tyson always says, like, it could have gone so different. And imagine that, like, he found boxing in I can't remember if it was a corrections facility or a boys' home or something like that. But essentially, he started boxing while in lockup because he was headed down that path. He grew up with nothing. His mom was a prostitute. You know what I mean? They had nothing. They were poor. He had to fight. He had to do what he had to do to make it. He had to steal, different things like that. He grew up with no father. You know what I mean? He grew up a very rough life. And he could have easily he could have fell into that same kind of trap. He could have easily just, you know what I mean, how would you word it? I mean, he could have easily just ended up in incarceration. He could have been dead. He could have been cast out, you know what I mean? Which he was. He was different. People hated him. He had a lisp. He had the split teeth. He had a broken home. He was different. He was more volatile. And so people hated him. They ostracized him. They treated him different. Treated him like a piece of shit. And his story happened to go different. You know what I mean? Cuss found him. You know what I mean? He adopted him. He gave him a home. He gave him stability. He gave him a chance, and he was able to escape. And he is he is the greatest fighter, in my opinion, the greatest boxer of all time. And so there's a lot of people who have that level of potential to be the greatest, or to be an engineer, or to be someone at NASA, or to be something like something considered high up in society, and something that they could have been an artist. They have passions, they have wants, they have things like that, and they could have been an artist. They could have been anything they wanted to be, but they weren't given the tools. The circumstances dealt them shit cards, and they weren't given the knowledge. They didn't know. They didn't have the love. They didn't have the appreciation. They didn't have the guidance. They didn't have the money. They didn't have any of that, and so it turned out different for them. But you look at it, and there's so many inventive people in there. There's so many people who become engineer type people, who become different when they're put in those primal settings, and they do show their true colors a lot of times. And a lot of people you look, they have some of the greatest tattoos you've ever seen come from people in prison. Why is that? Because they have that, and they're using pen needles they're using made machines, and they're making some of the best art I've ever seen. Why is that? And that's because they are artists, and they are somebody, and they were that inventive, and they have the drive to still do something when they could just sit there and lay or be pissed off or whatever. And they're punished for it too a lot of times. The stuff that they do, that they make or they craft or that they're creative with, they're punished for, and it's taken. So they have to hide it as well, and they're still doing it. And so it shows to me that these people who are kicked out, and don't get me wrong, there are people who are villains, who are bad, and they deserve to be punished, but I believe it's in a whole different manner. And that's a different topic I want to get into sometime. But I don't think I'm ready for that one yet. But essentially, the treatment of prisoners and prison for profit is really wrong, and especially how we do it in the United States. It's about revenge, and it's about punishment, and I think that's sick. But back to what I was talking about. A lot of these people have potential. A lot of these people are carpenters, are electricians, are, you know what I mean? A lot of people, you don't even think about it. A lot of people who go to prison, especially now with 2 million incarceration, a lot of these people had regular jobs. You know what I mean? A lot of these people were just everyday living people who committed some level of crime. And I believe violent and nonviolent should be treated completely different. That's one thing I believe. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to disagree with that. I mean, those are two completely different crimes. Two completely different crimes. If someone is hurt in a crime and someone is not, to me, those are two different levels. You know what I mean? Those are two different, you handle those with different gloves. And especially like a lot of those non-violent guys in there who are doing years for drug-related things or just different non-violent related things. And they're still in there for a long time, and they're still doing time, and they're changed, and they have to get beat, and they have to see people get beat, and they have to watch all this horrible stuff, and all because they're different. You know what I mean? You that's what a big part of it is. They're different. They're different from you and me, and especially when they look different, especially when they act different, it's easy to ostracize, and it's easy to be like, well, they're different, you know what I mean? It's easy to not see yourself in their shoes. It's easy to dehumanize them a lot of times. That's how a lot of racism and things start, is you see the differences and you say, oh, that's not me. That could never be me. You can't see it as you. You don't have the compassion as if it was you. But that's a big thing to me, is I think we shun and we judge a lot. And it starts from an early age. It's not even like it's a thing that only happens later in life or only happens in school or only happens in like later in life, or only happens in like juries, or it only happens in things like that. I kind of spoiled it, but it also happens in things like school. From an early age, people who are different get picked on, and I remember that. I mean, I remember being that kid. I never got picked on too much, here and there. I'm not gonna lie. Because I was bigger, and I was sweet, I was nice, I was not a mean kid. I'm not a mean person, like, that's just not in my DNA. Like, you know, I can get mean if I need to get mean for survival, or for fighting reasons, or, you know what I mean, for different reasons, but for the most part, I'm just trying to chill. I'm not trying to be on all that. I'm not trying to have my head on a swivel, be paranoid, be all aggressive, be all, that's just not me. And so, a lot of times, so I remember being in school, and you see these, like, you know, kids, and I'm not gonna lie, there was times where I was a bully. There were times where I was like a little dickhead, and there was times where I just, you know what I mean, I used to be a little dick, and I laugh now, and it's kind of fucked up, but there was just a time where I used to be mean, bro, and that's just what it was. Like, I used to get mean, I used to get shitty, because when you're in that environment, it's either get ate off rip. And anybody who's been through the American school system, who's just been through, what do you call it, not private school, but just public school, anybody who's been through the public school experience knows, off rip, you gotta be mean. I remember, and I'll never forget this, right? It's the first day of school, and me and this nigga are cool now, but fucking, it's me and my homeboy, right? Or not even my homeboy, right? Like, I don't even know him yet. I don't even know this dude. Like, right, we in class. This is the first day of 6th grade. This is the first day of class. And it can happen even younger, and it was happening younger, but this is just a prime example to me, right? This was just a funny little story. But we in art, right? It's first day. It's the first day of school, bro. Like, what do you even got to be upset about, right? It's first day of school, bro. Like, it's easy work. Like, what do you even, right? So, we're in this bitch, and my homeboy, I'm not going to say his name, but they're calling attendance, right? And they say my name. And he says my name, right? And he says, more like thicken, right? Because I'm a fat kid, right? I still got a little weight to me, but I'm kind of fat. I wear a little Star Wars hoodie. I'm kind of a cornball looking ass dude. And he says, blah blah blah, your name more like thicken. And bro, that's the first day of 6th grade art class. This is an elective, bro. What are you talking about? What do you mean thicken, bro? It's the first day. What do you even want about? What are you eating for? What the fuck? Whole class laughs. They start cracking up, whatever. And from that day forward, I think I was a little dickhead. I had to change. I had to be mean. I had to get different on niggas. I had to be way more mean than I'd normally be, just because it's survival in that bitch, right? it's just on survival mode. And so it starts from a young age that shit happens, especially in the American like school system and culture and just how it is. Like, you gotta fend for your like like social life. You have to fend for that shit, because if you're weird, or if you look different, if you got the glasses and the curly hair, or if you're overweight and you know what I mean, you got tattered clothes. Sorry about that. But it shouldn't be like that. But that's how it is. It was really like that. Like, if you got tattered clothes, if you overweight, if you got the glasses, if you got the freckles, if there's anything that's not perfect about you, right? People are gonna target that shit. People are gonna say something mean, and you oftentimes, just as a defense mechanism and survival, you get mean back, right? Or you got a preemptive strike. You're mean off rip. You see somebody weird, and my homie pointed this out to me the other day. He said, because I was just giving him shit for how he looked when he was younger. We found older pictures of him, and I was just giving him shit. And he said, "Yeah, I used to be a fucking bully." And I was like, "You're a bully, dude. Look at you. You were a fucking 90 pounds. Like, how is you a bully? Like, you was just a little dude." And he's like, when someone weird see someone even weirder than them, or if someone weak sees someone even weaker than them, what do? And I thought, oh my God, like, they are the most mean, vicious people. Often, like, that's real. Like, those little guys, or like people who get picked on the most, often have the most mean, hurtful insults, or the most violent, like they're often like, damn, that really put it into perspective to me. That really was like a wake up, like, damn. When somebody weak see somebody even weaker than them, they just go in like crazy, because they're sick of getting dogged on. They're sick of getting picked on. So what do they got to do? They got to eat this guy alive. Why? Because if they don't, then they're going to get picked on. They're still getting picked on, and they got to take it out on someone. They got to be the big, you know what I mean? They have to, they're doing it because it's done to them, and they're doing it because if they don't, then they're the butt of the joke again, and it feels good to not be the butt of the joke, and that's crazy to me, dog. Like, that's really crazy that's how it is. Sorry, I was just, but that's really crazy that's how it is. Like, it's a eat or get ate environment off rip. If you're different, you're cast out. Like, you know what I mean? We've all anybody who's gone to public school, you can all relate on the fact that, like, we all know the weird kid. There was always a weird kid. There was always a kid that was getting picked on, and there was always a reason why, right? They're a spaz, they're this, they're that, they're da. But really, it's just because they were different. They didn't fit in with the norm. They were labeled weird. They were labeled a freak. They were labeled da because they were different, and they weren't like the rest of us. And I was like that. I was part of the crowd, and I used to, and a lot of that was because I was different, right? And I didn't want to be picked on. I didn't want to be ostracized, and so I started being that bully, and so I get that, and it really resonated with me in that book, like, conform or be cast out, and that really starts from a young age, and it just goes worse into adulthood, where you go into the Middle Ages, people are getting hung and burned and thrown into lakes because they're different, because the witchcraft, because of this, because of that. And sorry about that again, but it's just crazy to me that's really how it is. That's really how it goes. And I mean, that's just like, it really like shone through to me. It really just brought it back up in my mind and made me think about it, and I don't know, I just thought that was an interesting talking point about it, conform or be cast out, and I thought that was really interesting that it related to that youngin' stage where it starts off rip, and it can start at home, you know what I mean? It don't even gotta be in school. You're just different, and your parents don't like you, you know what I mean, or your siblings don't like you, or you know what I mean? It can start at home. And it can make people feel really shitty, and it can make some of the greatest people on earth, and it can make some of the worst people on earth. And that's the crazy part to me, is it really is a double-edged blade, and And I don't know. I don't even think that there's a positive to it, because just because something's different, we shouldn't hate it. We should not like it. Like I said, that's how bad things like racism and stuff start. Is they're different. They're not like me. I can't see myself in their shoes. I don't empathize with them. I don't sympathize with them. I don't think they're people. You know what I mean? And that's just sick. That's just wrong. But I just think that that's how society has been for a long time, and it's just sad. And then I think in a more modern era, we could change that. It could be different. I think it could be a lot different. You know what I mean? So that was my little 2 cents on that. That was my little. I wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, that was Conformity Cast Out the Book, and that was my little take on it. That was my little relate. Sorry if I just go on tangents and rants, but yeah, man, that's how it is. That's kind of how I talk. That's what I love doing about these pods. Is it's a good place for me to just talk kind of and be myself a little bit more, because this is authentic. You know what I mean? It's not like, I mean, this is a front. Like, yeah, this is a little bit different than how I am in everyday life or with my friends. But for the most part, like, this is how I am, and this is how I talk, and these are the things I think about, and this is really my life. It's not just some front, you know what I mean? And I hope you guys enjoy this. I enjoy doing it. It took me a while to get back into this. I'm not even gonna lie. It's September 21st. I don't know when the last pod was. You know what I mean? Like, I want to say it's a month. Hold up, 3 weeks. It's 25th, so almost an entire month. Like, we're like 4 days from an entire month, and so anybody who listens to this one, I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all for sticking around, and any new viewers, I hope y'all stay tuned, because it's not gonna be like this. There was just a hiatus because I got sick, but I'm back now. And I want to make that clear. I want to make that apparent. I don't want y'all to leave. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to make this little pod. I want this to go somewhere. I want this to be something. I'm hoping, you know what I mean, to gain a following, to do this as a job, to make more content, to do way different type things. Yeah, I got big plans, and I'm going to college soon. I'm not gonna let that interfere. I'm still gonna do this. It might be less frequent. You know what I mean? I'll have to tweak it based on that. But I'm really doing this shit, and I really appreciate y'all. And I'm telling y'all, once I can get a guest, I just got to get that second microphone. Got to get me some bread. Got to get that second microphone. And then I'll have my first guest on, and that's when I really think y'all will like it. And that's when I think I'll start releasing more consistently. And when I have, you know what I mean, more guests on, and once I can get more than one guest on, and once I can get, you know what I mean, some different people, and hopefully get a little bit more clout, and hopefully get a little bit more views, and just grow, and just make this a whole thing. And you know what I mean, I get real political, or you know what I mean, I get political and I get serious, but really I want to make this more of a funny, lighthearted, more joke kind of podcast. It's just hard to do it on my own. I'm way better with people. That's what I mean when I say, like, once y'all see me with a person, it's way different, because I can kind of crack jokes. I can kind of go off different. It's just a little bit more lighthearted. It's just a little bit of a different vibe. Whereas when I'm by myself, it's kind of hard to be funny. It's kind of hard for me. You know, I'm still young. I'm still a young man, so I'm still getting into this. I don't really know the full flow yet. I don't really know even who I am, but you know, I'm figuring myself out, and I want this to be the best that it can be, and I want to interview people, and I want to, you know what I mean, just get bigger, and hopefully have bigger and bigger guests on, and just, you know what I mean, this is a start, and I just need to get my shit together, and you know what I mean. That's, sorry if this little go off segment, but I just had to get that out there, that, you know what I mean, y'all mean a lot to me, and I appreciate it, and we're just gonna, you know, we're just going up from here, and I'm sorry for my little hiatus, but we back. So, ooh, that's a crazy one. I'm looking at my little notes here, and I'm just looking at my little notes. God damn, I gotta stop doing that shit so close to the mic. I can hear that in the headphones. Sounds so weird. Damn, I don't even live like that interesting of a life right now. So it's not even like I got a whole bunch of stories. I mean, I have some. My mom listened to the pod, which was interesting, and she told me that she thought the story where I flung my shit undies in the sky. I think that was the one I told, right? I think that's the one I told, or it might have been the football game one. That might be a different one. I don't know if I told that one, but the football game one she thought was hilarious. So I want to tell this one because I just spoiled it a little bit, but I don't know if I told this one on the other one. It's just a little story for the end. But essentially, one day, this is a long time ago too, mind you. This is freshman year, maybe freshman, the summer before, the summer after. Or no, it's in October, so I want to say this is 8th grade. Anyways, this is a minute ago. We all go to this little Halloween thing, right? Oh, speaking of Happy Halloween, that shit's coming up. I mean, it's still a month away, but you know what I mean? It's, we're getting prepared for it. This is a little story to prep, and I hope to do more stuff like this. This is what I like doing. But anyways, so we're walking down this little trail. So anyways, let me start. So we go to this haunted house thing, right? And it's this little barn, right? And it's all decked out. Got little scary exhibits in there. It's all dark. People are in their little costumes. It's all spooky, right? I ain't even really want to go. I'm not even that type of person. I'm a homebody, right? Like the worst homebody. Sorry, goddamn. But I'm the worst homebody, right? And so they get me out, right? And we go to this haunted house. And I'm with my two homeboys, this girl, and then her friend. Yeah, her friend's there, right? So we go through this haunted house or whatever, right? It's cool, whatever. That's not the main point, right? We get out. This is scary or whatever. We get out. So then we walk to what we think is the exit or a way to get out, right? It's not. It's a gate. And all the gate has barbed wire on it except for this one section. And even then it's kind of sketchy, right? It's still got these little spikes. It's a scary fence. So what do the two bitches do? Well, they leave, obviously. Or I mean, they don't leave, but they're like, we're going to go the other way. They're going to walk all the way around to the front, right? That's a long haul. My boys, they're skinny, right? They're little. They fucking, one goes underneath, one goes through the crack, right? They make it through. I'm not doing either of those. So they're like, you walk around, or you could just go over, right? So I'm a genius. I think I'm Sam Fisher. I'm moving Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator, right? That's how I'm moving. I climb up on top of the gate. I'm at the top of the gate, right? I'm wobbling, right? This motherfucking gate is flimsy, but it's sturdy. It's the weirdest thing to explain. But there's little spikes, right? I'm like, fuck. And it's a pretty high gate, right? I know this is just going to hurt my ankles when I hit the ground. They're like, all right, just jump down. I'm like, fuck. All right. So I go to jump. I jump. My ass gets caught by barbed wire, bro. The barbed wire caught my fucking shorts and my ass. Super Saiyan, fucking Goku screamed to the sky. I'm fucking, that's right. I'm screaming. I'm like, fuck. I take a knee, right? I'm about to be fucking at the end of, I'm Willem Dafoe, end of Platoon. I'm about to take a knee, right? I'm fucking, Homies come back. They're like, oh, fuck, you good, bro? I'm like, yeah. Pick myself up, right? We start walking. Then the worst part happens, right? I hear my stomach fucking grumble, right? Grrr. Like, fuck. Grrr. I'm like, oh my God. We're walking, right? This is on the side of this little fairgrounds, right? So it's like big ass open space, fence. It's like fence, big ass open space, fair, fence. So like, right, and then it's like road on the other side of the fence, right? The side that I hopped over to, it's road, and we're walking around, right? And there's quite a bit of traffic, right? There's, this is the fair. People are or it's that little Halloween thing, whatever, right? People are going, da da da. So we're walking, right? We're trying to walk to the Taco John's. We get to this tree, right? Dude, this bitch, sorry, I don't know if my demographic, but this female, she come over, right? She's like, she's trying to like, oh, can I come over there? I'm like, no, right? Because I got to take a shit. And I'm telling them, like, bro, I got to shit. I'm about to shit. Like, tell her to stay away. Like, no. She gets mad, right? She gets pissed. She's like, well, fuck you. She, like, gets mad. Whatever. She go away. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I take this mean-ass shit, right? Terrible, right? It coats the tree. I'm behind a tree, by the way, because, like I said, it's like road, fucking shoulder of the road fence. And in the shoulder of the road's where I'm shitting. And there's a big-ass tree. So I'm shitting, whatever. I fucking get done. I'm like, yo, what do I have to wipe? So my homie, he's a real one, right? And he offers up his socks. And I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna do it, but I felt so bad, bro. These were a nice ass pair of socks, mind you. This was back in the day of like what's that brand? Elite? I think they were called Elite socks or whatever. It's like some Elites. And I'm like, nah. So I just fucking troop her up, bro. I wipe my ass with my shitty underwear, right? I fucking, and then I like put it on my finger like a slingshot so it doesn't touch anything. And I fucking shoot it up into the tree for some fucking bird to like munch on. I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know if maintenance has to come get that. I don't know how people deal with that. But I shot those fuckers into a tree. And then I just like hiked up, bro, pulled up my pants. I was like, all right, we're good to go. Like, and we went on to Taco John's and then yeah, that was, ended poorly. She was mad. It was a little shenanigans in the thing, bro. We were just sitting there. Well, the girl that I came with, her friend, whatever. She sat across from us, or she sat across from me, and then the other homeboy was sitting next to her, right? Well, my phone died, and I needed a charger, right? I needed the charger outlet, right? There's only one, and bro, it's the funniest shit. Like, to me and my homeboy, but he like pulls she's charging her phone, right? And she's charging it. And his dumbass, I don't know how he didn't think, but like, he looks at me, he's like, you charging your phone? I was like, yeah. He like looks all slide to the left, to the right, bro, grabs the fucking charging block and pulls it out of the wall. And her phone's like makes a little noise or whatever. And she's already pissed, bro, because she don't even want to be there. Like, she just came for her friend, and like, he just was like, my bad, I didn't, and she just like, what the fuck ever, and like got up and left, and like, bro, I thought that shit was so funny, because he tried to be so slick, and like, he was, bro, she didn't even notice, and like, he just heard that awkward ass, like, it was all quiet, just, and like, oh, it was the funniest shit, but that's a little story I wanted to share with y'all, because I thought it was funny, and I think my embarrassing stories, some of them are my most favorite, so, I'll be telling more of those, but yeah, man, I want to make this funny. I want to make it comedic. So, you know what I mean? I like telling my little stories. So, yeah, man, that's been this episode. Like, favorite, comment, subscribe. You know what I mean? Boost it. Try and view the other social medias. I'm going to get the TikTok running up again. And then I got to put the rest of the episodes on Spotify. But, yeah, man, we just reached an hour. I don't know how much of this I got to edit out. So it was going to be around an hour, maybe roughly a little bit shorter, but hopefully the audio sounds good. Hopefully everything's good. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. I enjoyed making this one. Man, it's been a minute. I didn't even know I was going to get this done tonight. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'll record a little bit. I'll record a little bit tomorrow. But fuck it. We did it all in one. So leave a like, man. I really appreciate y'all. Sorry if I got a little loud at the end of there. I was just getting hyped. But I appreciate y'all, man. Stay tuned for the next episode. Stay tuned for everything coming up. I appreciate y'all, and thank you for listening.
That bitch do whatever you say. When it come to money, you got my